Why is it that 99% of people work for their entire lives, yet end up with nothing to show for it but a pile of bills and a tired soul? Have you ever noticed that even when your salary goes up, your bank account stays exactly the same? It is a strange, invisible trap. You work harder, you earn more, but somehow, you are always just 1 month away from being broke. Most people think this is just life. They think that being stressed about money is the natural price of being an adult. But what if I told you that the reason you are struggling has nothing to do with your job, your boss, or the economy? What if I told you that you are playing a game where the rules were written to ensure you lose, and you have been following those rules perfectly every single day? Think about it. Why do we rush to buy things that lose value the second we touch them? Why do we feel a desperate need to upgrade our lives the moment we get a raise? It feels like freedom, but it is actually a cage. Today, I'm going to show you the secret recipe that the wealthy use to escape this cycle, a recipe that turns a few modest dollars into a mountain of lasting wealth. If you are tired of running on a hamster wheel that never stops, pay close attention. Before we start, hit that subscribe button, because once you see the kitchen of your life for what it really is, you will never look at your money the same way again. It is time to ask, why does your plate keep coming back empty? Most people believe that if they suddenly started earning 10 times more money, all their problems would vanish like steam. That is the biggest lie in the world of finance. Imagine I give you 100 bags of high-quality flour. If your pot has a hole in the bottom the size of a fist, it does not matter how much flour you pour in, it will all end up on the floor. Your salary is just raw material. It is the flour, the sugar, and the eggs. But raw material is not a cake. Wealth is what is left in the pantry after you have served dinner. The problem with the modern world is that we are taught to brag about how much raw material we wasted. When your neighbor shows off a brand new car, in the language of a chef, he is saying that he just threw 500 bags of top-tier flour into the trash for a shiny piece of metal. To build a fortune, you must first learn to guard your ingredients. If you spend 100% of what you bring home, you are not building a house, you are just moving bricks from one side of the yard to the other. The first rule of my kitchen is this: you must set aside a portion for your future cake before you decide what you are eating for dinner tonight. True wealth is not about what you earn. It is about the difference between what you bring in and what you let go of. You are the architect of your own hunger or your own feast. Stop buying the toys and start buying your freedom. Now, I'm going to let you in on the biggest secret of the wealthy. Why do some people get richer while they sleep, while others work until their hair turns gray? The answer is one word: yeast. In finance, we call this compound interest. Imagine you put a tiny piece of dough in a bowl. If it is the right kind of dough, tomorrow it will be twice as large. The day after that, it will double again. This is the mathematical wonder that keeps the rich rich. Most people make a fatal mistake here. They see the dough rise just a little bit, and they immediately pinch off a piece to eat it. They take their profits way too early. Compound interest is not a sprint, it is a slow fermentation. If you let your dough sit for 10, 20, or 30 years, it will start to grow at a speed that will fill your kitchen, your house, and your entire street. This is the moment where money starts making money. You no longer need to work for the flour because the flour is now reproducing itself. This is the only way to reach true freedom. It is not magic, it is simple arithmetic that most people are too impatient to experience. You are trading your immediate satisfaction for a future of abundance. When you understand that money can be an employee that works 24 hours a day without asking for a raise, you have unlocked the door to the elite class. Don't be the person who eats the dough, be the person who builds the bakery. Before we can bake, we have to clean out the trash. Some ingredients are poisonous. I'm talking about high-interest debt. Imagine trying to bake a cake while someone is actively stealing eggs out of your bowl every 5 minutes. That is what a credit card does to your life. When you buy something on credit, you are not just spending money you do not have, you are selling your future time at a massive discount. If you have a debt with an interest rate of 20%, you are essentially cooking with rotten milk. No matter how much sugar you add, the result will be bitter. You cannot out-invest a bad debt. It is like trying to run a race with a giant lead weight tied to your ankle. Before we start adding the good stuff, we have to pay off the bad stuff. We have to clear the debt so that every single gram of flour we put into the bowl stays in the bowl. Stop feeding the bankers and start feeding yourself. It is a psychological war. The credit card companies want you to be lazy. They want you to think that borrowing is just a way to live better today. But it is a lie. Every time you pay interest, you are setting fire to your own potential. You are taking your future wealth and handing it to a corporation for free. Break the cycle today. Cut the cards, stop the bleeding, and reclaim the ingredients that are rightfully yours. Your future self is begging you to stop the robbery right now. Every cake needs heat to grow, but heat can be scary. In the world of investing, the heat is market volatility. Sometimes the oven gets too hot, and sometimes it gets a little cold. Most beginner chefs panic when they see the temperature fluctuate. They see the stock market go down by 10%, and they pull the cake out of the oven before it is finished. This is the number one reason people fail. Do you know what happens when you pull a half-baked cake out of a hot oven? It collapses. It becomes a useless, flat mass. To be a master of finance, you must learn to trust the timer. You have to leave the door closed even when the news tells you the kitchen is on fire. The history of the world shows us that the oven always finishes the job if you just leave it alone. Patience is the rarest ingredient in the world, and it is also the most expensive. When the markets dip, don't sell in fear, buy in confidence. That is when the best ingredients go on sale. You are playing a long-term game, not a short-term gamble. The people who get rich are not the ones who jump in and out of the market every time the wind blows. They are the ones who stay invested through the storm. Let the oven do its work, keep the door shut, ignore the noise, and wait for the masterpiece to rise. Your patience will be rewarded with a fortune that lasts a lifetime. You cannot survive on sugar alone, and you cannot build a portfolio on just one stock. This is the rule of diversification. If you put all your eggs in one basket, or in our case, all your flour in one bowl, and that bowl breaks, you go hungry. A smart chef uses different ingredients from different sources. This is how you protect yourself against the unexpected disasters that life throws at you. You want some stocks, which are like the sugar that makes the cake rise fast. You want some bonds or safer assets, which are like the salt that balances the flavor and keeps things stable. You might even want some real estate, which is like the sturdy pan that holds everything together. When one ingredient fails, the others are there to save the dish. Never bet your entire life on a single move. True wealth is built on a foundation of many different layers. By spreading your risk, you ensure that you are never completely destroyed by one bad event. It is the strategy of the survivors. It is the wisdom of the masters. Think of it like a forest. If one tree falls, the rest of the forest remains standing. When you build a diversified portfolio, you are building a kingdom that can withstand the test of time, the changing economy, and any personal crisis you might encounter. This is the ultimate form of financial security. Balance your ingredients, protect your assets, and sleep soundly knowing your future is secured by more than just one fragile thread. The most expensive thing you will ever own is the time you wasted. If you start baking when you are 20 years old, you only need a little bit of flour to make a massive cake. But if you wait until you are 40, you need to dump entire truckloads of flour into the oven just to get a snack. This is the cold, brutal math of life. You can earn more money, but you can never earn more time. This is the hidden cost of hesitation. Waiting 5 years to start saving can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long run. There is no such thing as a perfect time to start. The kitchen is always a mess, and the eggs are always expensive. But the person who starts today with $1 will always beat the person who plans to start tomorrow with $100. Time is the fire. Without it, you are just sitting in the dark with a bowl of cold water. Do not wait for a promotion. Do not wait for the market to look perfect, and do not wait for the perfect feeling of readiness. You will never feel ready. Start now, because every day you wait is a day that the miracle of compound interest is working for someone else instead of you. You are literally watching your own potential evaporate into thin air. Wake up, take control, and start the process. The longer you wait, the harder the climb. Don't be the person who looks back at age 50 and realizes they could have been a millionaire. There is a tiny bug in every kitchen called inflation. You cannot see it, but it is slowly eating your flour while you sleep. If you leave $100 under your mattress for 10 years, when you come back, it might still say 100, but it will only buy you half as much bread. Inflation is the thief that steals your future without you even noticing. Your money must grow faster than the bugs can eat it. This is why saving is not enough. You must invest. Savings are for emergencies, investments are for growth. If your money is not earning at least 7% a year, the inflation bugs are winning the war. You have to put your money to work so it can defend itself. Think of your investments as soldiers on the front line, protecting your wealth from being eroded by the rising cost of living. If you keep your money in a bank account earning zero, you are actively losing purchasing power every single day. That is a guaranteed loss. You are choosing to be poorer tomorrow than you are today. That makes no sense, right? Yet, this is what the majority of the population does out of fear of the markets. They choose the slow death of inflation over the temporary stress of investing. Be smarter than that. Protect your hard-earned wealth. put it into assets that fight back, and ensure your money works as hard as you do. Don't let the silent thief take what you worked for. Great cooking is not about luck, it is about a system. The most successful people I know do not decide to save money every month, they automate it. They set it so the flour goes into the bowl before they even see it. If you wait until the end of the month to see what is left over, the answer will always be zero. You must build a system that is stronger than your emotions. You have to pay yourself first. Treat your savings like a bill that must be paid. If you do not pay the electric company, they turn off the lights. If you do not pay your future self, you turn off your freedom. Make it automatic, make it boring. The most boring recipes often produce the most spectacular results. When you automate, you remove the human element, the part of you that wants to spend, the part that wants the instant gratification. You create a flow of wealth that happens whether you feel like it or not. This is how you achieve consistency, and consistency is the father of wealth. Stop relying on your willpower. Your willpower is weak and exhausted after a long day of work. Instead, rely on your systems. Set your transfer to happen on payday, and let the machinery of your financial plan take care of the heavy lifting. This is the secret of the wealthy elite. They do not work harder than you, they just have better systems for keeping what they earn. We have reached the end of the recipe. If you have followed the steps, guarded your ingredients, avoided the rotten debt, added the yeast of compound interest, and kept the oven door closed, something incredible happens. One day, you wake up and realize you don't need to go to the store anymore. Your garden is full, your oven is overflowing, and you have more than enough to feed your family and everyone you love. Financial freedom is not about buying a gold watch. It is about the ability to wake up and decide exactly how you want to spend your time. It is about never being forced to eat a meal you didn't choose. It takes discipline, it takes time, and it takes a bit of courage to keep cooking when things get hot. But I promise you, that first bite of freedom tastes better than anything else in the world. Now, get into the kitchen and start baking. You have all the knowledge, all the tools, and all the potential. The only thing left to do is to take that first step. Do not look back. Do not doubt yourself. You are capable of building a life that most people only dream about, but the work starts in your own mind and your own bank account. Be the chef of your life, feed your future, and build the legacy that you deserve. Thank you for staying through the entire masterclass. Now, go out there and start your financial feast. Your journey to freedom begins this very moment.